Hey everybody, it's Mike over at Taxes and Bricks. Well, it's Thursday, so I'm proud to say it's Lego Day. Welcome to episode 29. And today, been talking about it for a little while, we are going to start the architecture series, which I think is going to take us a couple of weeks to get through here, because I think formatting wise, what I want to do is show you guys a lot of the sets that I have already put together, which I've managed to bring here. And then I've kind of got a bunch of sets that I hadn't put together, some that I have recently put together and I did some time-lapse builds on. And then again, some that are just sort of sitting in the boxes here. And I just need to kind of put them together, and you tell a couple of stories, and maybe run through a few of the sort of facts about these different locations, and talk to you guys a little bit about why I actually fell in love with the architecture series, and why I've made it a mission to kind of collect all the sets that are in the series. I mean, there are a few that I'm not going to get, and there are a couple that were kind of expensive, and I'm pretty much not going to buy them. But the ones that are available. So stay tuned. We're going to talk a little bit about the architecture series and start that off today. Again, if you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit the like button below. Subscribe. It's free. Helps me out, helps you out, because you get a lot of good information and a lot of fun content and a good escape from reality here. We'll be right back. We'll kind of look at some of the sets on the shelves, talk a little bit about the series and the theme, and we'll go from there. So I think in a prior video I'd mentioned that the first set that I actually purchased for myself was the small White House from 2010. And this was in sort of response to the fact that I didn't even know that there were Legos that were geared more towards adults. A coworker of mine had kind of suggested that I look into it, and I found this on Amazon, and I bought it, and it took me a long time to put together, even though it doesn't have a lot of pieces. But that's because I'd never really done a set before, but I really kind of enjoyed working with it. The next architecture set that I purchased was the Capitol, and I said, you know what, go big or go home. That's the way to do it. And that one was a lot of tiny little itty-bitty pieces. It took me forever. From there, I went with the White House, the 2016 White House. I think this is when it came out. It might have been 2010. I can't remember the years. Again, bad with that kind of stuff. And as you can see with these architecture sets, by the way, they have another White House. And the architecture series sort of re-releases sets. So, for example, you'll get two versions of the White House, and you'll get, two versions of the Guggenheim. And I'm not really quite sure why. I mean, I understand why they did two versions of the Sears Tower and called one of them the Willis Tower and the other one the Sears Tower. And that's because I'm pretty sure it's not called the Sears Tower anymore. But they did three different versions, well, two different versions of the Burj Khalifa out of Dubai, in the UAE, and two of them are exactly the same, like different sets, but they're exactly the same, not a single piece is off. So I only bought the one. So, but some of the sets are unique in the sense that they only do one of them. There's one Statue of Liberty, there's one Farnsworth House, there's one Skyline, and one Big Ben, and it's kind of interesting, and something Robbie House and whatnot. So I think the sets kind of break down a little bit into sort of what I think are three sort of classifications. So the first one, I think that's sort of the most kind of recognizable for those out there, are going to be these Skyline sets, and they're exactly what they sound like. It's just the iconic buildings and landmarks that are along the various skylines in various cities. I will say that I am very pissed off that Chicago's got one, New York's got one, and San Francisco's got one. Vegas has one, and there's no Boston, because I'm from Boston. And frankly speaking, that really just should have been the first. I mean, it shouldn't have been Venice or Berlin or New York. I mean, why pick like dirty, filthy cities? Pick Boston, best place in the entire known universe. I mean, go Pats. Anyway, but yeah, so you've got the Skyline sets, and there are a few of them. And I've got a couple more that needs to be assembled. There's Paris and Shanghai and Singapore, and I think there's a couple of others that I haven't put together yet either. I think Dubai and San Francisco. haven't been put together yet. Then you've kind of got sort of historic locations that have some significance. Things like Rockefeller Center is sort of a destination, a tourist destination. Obviously, Taj Mahal, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Eiffel Tower. So you've got these sort of destinations, more touristy kind of things people go to see. And then you've got kind of the sort of the customary sort of architectural type, sets, things like Falling Water or, Robbie House. Or as we'd said before, Farnsworth House. And, there's a bunch from, Frank Lloyd Wright and things like that. So, you really kind of get a sense for the sort of differences that you see in all of these sets. There are, I believe, it's either 51 or 52 standard architecture sets, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3. I have them all. They're obviously not all put together here, but these are at present the sets that I have all put together. So starting at the bottom, Statue of Liberty, Burj Khalifa, I've got Farnsworth House, Big Ben, Tokyo, and then moving towards that center shelf, we've got in the center from left to right, we've got Pisa and the Leaning Tower of Pisa and the Eiffel Tower. Behind that, we've got the dirty Space Needle. I still need to clean that. Ew. Willis Tower, Sears Tower. That's, by the way, the only duplicate that I bought. I actually have one that says Sears Tower as well. There's the Hancock Center in the back, Empire State Building. There are 2 Empire State Buildings, too. You'll see as we put together the larger, more detailed one. That's more on the scale of the Statue of Liberty. And starting over here, you've got New York. Boo. Berlin. That's fine. Venice is okay. Vegas. I mean, it's Vegas, so I guess I can't be all that upset. I mean, it's not even anywhere close to Boston, but whatever. London, and then behind that, we've got Sydney. I already mentioned Tokyo and Big Ben back here. Up on this shelf here, I did Trafalgar Square. That was actually kind of a fun build. There's this interesting sets back here. These actually slid in sideways. So you kind of built them, and then you sort of slid them inside. It was really kind of an interesting technique to build them. You saw the sort of the Washington, D.C. series here. Rockefeller Center, very simple and quick build there. It was also missing a piece. I bought it used, so I had to dig out one of these little things from my collection. Robbie House, probably one of the most interesting and detailed of all the sets. Also, I mean, the color is just incredible. Taj Mahal, also lots of tiny pieces and very detailed. I had a ton of fun putting that together. It took me a little while because they're small pieces. On the back, you got Falling Water, and then you got the first iteration of the Guggenheim. So that is what we've got sort of set up and put up on the shelves here already. So I'll take a quick break and I'll come back and talk about how we're going to proceed with everything and getting the rest of the sets kind of displayed and shown to you. All right, so I recognize that often what I find interesting and intriguing and, fun and funny is absolutely, totally outside the realm of what anybody else does. And I suppose I will be, treated to whether or not I am on point with all of this based on how many views or lack thereof I get on these architecture videos. However, what I thought I would do is start kind of at the top of the list, the first architecture set that was put together, and that would be the Sears Tower or the Willis Tower that you saw there. And then kind of work my way down in numeric and chronological order. So Hancock would be next, and then the small Empire State, the Space Needle, the Guggenheim. All of those are already put together sets. Talk a little bit about each one of those landmarks, and then run through in, say, part 2, and do the next couple in the series. And I think if my list has kind of worked out correct here, and this may just be by chance, you're going to get to see some that are already set up and already assembled, and then you're going to be able to experience a time lapse with me for sets that up and until that video was filmed were actually already in the box, either new or used, and I had never assembled them before. So I try and mix them up. I think we're not going to necessarily have a single episode between now and the end of the series where everything is either unassembled or everything is assembled. So I think I've kind of planned it out that way. That was by chance, totally not at all something that I planned. But I think what we're going to do is just kind of start with, with those sets, those early sets, and then kind of work our way down the list and go through. And I think that I think that's a good way to present this series and present this theme. Also, too, I will at some point as we get to the sets where there's a gap because I don't own them, talk a little bit about them. I'm also considering trying to acquire some of these sets that I don't have. And the problem is that some of them are just rare and very expensive, and I just don't really want to spend that kind of money on them because it just doesn't seem, worth it. But I mean, I suppose if I found a good deal on it, I guess we would do something like that. But anyway. So architecture series starts today. Very exciting stuff. I think it's going to be really interesting. So hang in with me here. I think you're going to find all this stuff very interesting. I try and weave some facts about these, kind of monuments and locations into the mix here, so that it's not just solid, pure, unadulterated entertainment. You actually get your learn on too, which I think is very important. So thanks for watching episode 29, part 1 of our architecture series. Stay tuned. I'm going to keep rolling through all of this stuff for you. Tomorrow, which is Friday, mailbag. So we're back to taxes. I've got a couple of really interesting questions that have come up here that I think you guys might enjoy. So hang in tomorrow for episode 30, which is mailbag. And that'll round out the week. So thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe. If you have a comment, leave it below. I read and answer all of them. Have a great day.